Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Look here, brothers and sisters. You're in the right place because this is going to be yet another great video. And this time, again, we're going to go over the Jamaican people because I'm telling you, many Jamaicans themselves don't know who they really are. Many don't know where they get their greatness from, why their country is so loved, why in the reggae and the attitude, the fun loving, laid back attitude, and the bravery and the toughness and the athletes, the sprinters, male and female, the most famous of them being Usain Bolt. Now, but it's more than that. I hope I mentioned reggae, Bob Marley, and so on, Peter Tosh, and so many great reggae musicians, and the culture has spread all over the world. Okay, what makes Jamaicans so special? Jamaicans, how many of you really know who you are? Well, after you watch this, you're gonna find out, and other people who didn't know as well. I want you to stay until the end because this is fantastic information that you're about to receive. Now, this is um, this is the basic subject. Black Jamaicans' famous culture was influenced by West Africa's Ashanti Israelites of Ghana and the Fines too. They're another group of people. They're known as the Akon people, but they are all once one group of people, and they're all Israelites who fled down into Africa and who migrated at different times in history. You are the children of God, Jamaican people. You are the children of God. Now, let's get into this. So, this book is one of the best books probably ever written, named Hebrewisms of West Africa, and it's written by Joseph J. Williams, and he's an African American, a Black American, but he is so brilliant. He was for the time that was written. This was written in the early 1900s. Yeah, he is, and it's reasonable. If you want to know who Black people are, if you want to know, this will tell you that and show you that Black people, all of us are Israelites. And so now I recommend you get it. Like I said, it's reasonable, but you get a lot of. If you like reading, it's a good book. Now, this is going to shed light on the great culture of the Jamaicans, the famous, what makes them like they are, bold and brave, but warm and loving. Okay, let's go, and this book will explain it to us. In the introduction, it's called, excuse me, Ashanti influence on Jamaican customs. Robert T. Hill of the United States Geological Survey, writing toward the close of the last century, was empathetic in his statement. Or I'm sorry, emphatic in his statement. The Jamaican Negroes are sui generis. Nothing is like them, even of their own race, can elsewhere be found. Not even elsewhere in the West Indies. Did you hear that? He said, this man is saying of the Jamaicans, the Jamaican black people. Now realize the word Negro, what it really means. Negro is really all Negroes, all of us are really the Israelites. We're the children of God. That's who the race of Negroes really are. So understand that. So nothing is like the Jamaicans. That's true, isn't it? That's true. Now, why? It says they are omnipresent. They are everywhere. The towns, the country, highways, and the woods ring with their laughter and merry songs. They fill the churches and throng the highways, especially on the market days when the country roads are black with them. And they are witty and full of queer jokes and folklore. He is speaking of the native blacks, the real peasantry of the island. So he's saying, I noticed that even in the videos now that I see of the Jamaicans, and in the past, it says that you see laughter. A lot of them sing merry songs. They're like that as long as they have what they need or whatever. They're like that now. I see it, and it says, and they're witty, they're smart, and okay, very smart. Now, during a 5 years residence in Jamaica, when much of the time was spent in the bush, in close contact with the simple, unaffected children of the soil, the present writer, in his turn, was deeply impressed by a striking difference between the Jamaican black and all other Negro types that he had ever encountered. Did you hear that? So there was something very different about the Jamaicans. Let's keep going, says African slaves. W.J. Gardner, in his History of Jamaica, states great numbers of Negro slaves were imported from Africa, representing tribes as diverse in character as different European nations. Among these fierce Coromantans occupied a very prominent place, but through their dangerous character, but though their dangerous character was so well known, their superior strength was highly valued. It was so highly valued as to lead to the rejection of all measures proposed to check their importation. So what this is saying is the Jamaicans or the Coromantans, they were known to be very dangerous. They were strong-willed, and it said that but because of their superior strength, they still imported them. They couldn't stop them from being imported because the Jamaicans had superior strength. Why? Let's keep going. Later on, the same author, while describing the various classes of slaves, tells us the Negroes of the Gold Coast were known generally as Coromantans. So the Gold Coast, what it's really saying, the Negroes of the Gold Coast is what's known as present day Ghana. Okay, so it's really saying the present day, they come from Ghana. And Negro, remember, it means Israelites. So really, basically, what it's saying, the Israelites of Ghana. Let's keep going. So they came from Ghana, and the Coromantans. Let's see, find out the Ashantis and the Fons, which is another people closely related to the Ashanti. They're all Israelites, children of God. It says by Duchalu were included in this term. They were strong and active, and on this account valued by the planters. The Spanish and the French colonists shunned them on account of their ferocious tendencies, but the attempts to prohibit their importation to Jamaica failed, though they were the instigators and the leaders of every rebellion. So what are we finding out? So these people that many of the Jamaicans come from, and that much Jamaican culture is influenced by now, this is the character of them. Listen, okay, they were strong and active, and that's why they were so valued by the planters. You see a lot of Jamaican people, Jamaican men and women, who they're very strong, hardworking, okay? And it says Spanish and French colonists shunned them. They didn't want them. They tried to avoid the Jamaicans because the Coromantans, because were ferocious. They were fighters, and they would fight. And but they couldn't stop them. They needed them. They needed the Coromantans from the Gold Coast. So it says Brian Edwards, the historian, for many years a resident of Jamaica and a member of the council, furnishes us with the most authentic description of these Coromantun slaves, and as an appreciation of their characteristic traits will help to clarify what follows. A somewhat lengthy quotation from his graphic account that may be pardoned. Speaking from his personal observations, he says, the circumstances which distinguish the Coromantun or Gold Coast Negroes from all others are firmness of body and mind. Negroes from all others are, I'm sorry, let me start that again. The circumstances which distinguish the Coromantun or Gold Coast Negroes from all others are firmness of both body and mind, a ferociousness of disposition, both withal activity, courage, and a stubbornness. Does it okay? Does that ring any bells? Okay, or what an ancient Roman world would have deemed an elevation of soul which prompts them to the enterprises of difficulty and danger and enables them to meet death in its most horrible shape with fortitude and indifference. Did you hear that? These are people that the Jamaicans came from. No wonder we see. Is this why we see what we see out of? It says now the Coromanttan slaves that the Jamaicans come from Ghana. It says they um they are from all others. They are distinguished from all other slaves. It says because of the firmness, the strength of their body and their mind. They're ferocious, like I said before. The Ashantis and the Fans. The Ashantis were the worst. I've seen I've seen articles over here about slavery in America, and it spoke of Ashantis over here being the most likely people to start a rebellion. Usually it was the Ashanti. They're very ferocious fighters. Okay, are Jamaicans like that? Okay, um, uh, activity, courage, stubbornness. I know that you know that that's the truth. So Jamaicans are strong-willed, Benny. That and from what I've seen, okay, and they know it. Many others know it. Okay, so uh, they sometimes take to labor with great fortitude and alacrity, and have constitutions well adapted for it. For many of them have undoubtedly been slaves in Africa. I have interrogated great numbers on this subject, and although some of them asserted that they were born free, who, as it afterwards proved by the testimony of their own relations, were actually sold as slaves by their masters. Others frankly confessed to me that they had no claim to freedom in their own country and were sold either to pay debts or to expiate the crimes of their owners. On the other hand, the Gold Coast being inhabited by various different tribes which are engaged in perpetual warfare and hostility with each other, there cannot be a doubt that many of the captives were taken in battle and sold in the European settlements. But they were free of free condition in their native countries and perhaps the owner of slaves themselves. Okay, so it is not wonderful that such men could and should endeavor, even by means the most desperate, to regain the freedom of which they have been deprived. Nor do I conceive that any further circumstances are necessary to prompt them to action than that of being sold into captivity in a distant country. Okay, I mean only to state the facts as I find them. Such, I well know that the origin of the Negro Rebellion, which happened in Jamaica in 1760, I'll think out what I'll do. I'll stop there, and when I come back, we'll continue the story because it's fascinating, and I don't want to divide it up. But so stick with me for those who wanted proof that Jamaicans are in the Bible. It's a step-by-step process, and just like um, all of us are learning, we were left with bits and pieces of the puzzle to learn that we're really the children of God. But Almighty God Yahweh is awakening us to find out who we really are so that we can turn back to him and to know what to be expected because he's going to gather us. Listen, this is why it's important. Almighty God Yahweh is going to gather us from all the nations that we've been scattered in slavery and oppression. But as you see, the Jamaicans were different than the other slaves, highly respected. And like I said, they were known. They were the ones. If there was going to be rebellion, it was the Coromontans, who the Jamaicans strongly descend from. I'll see you next time. Peace and blessings to you. Come back. Come back.